How have you found, because obviously I don't think it was always like this, in terms of just from a numbers basis, what works. Because if we look 5, 10 years ago, all the marketing stuff that was out there was always lead gen, right? It was very
Mm,
like 5,000 emails, volume, volume, volume.
mm.
How have you found that, or what have you seen in terms of, let's say, buying behavior over the last 5 to 10 years? And what's been the impact of that on marketing?
Yeah, I think it's changed massively, buying behavior. I think buying behavior has changed massively in the last 5 to 10 years. Um, I think that, and I feel this with myself, like people are more, I heard someone talking about this and referring to it as a trust recession. So people are less trusting today than they might have been 5, 10 years ago, particularly of big marketing claims. I think a lot of people have been burned a number of times. And that kind of comes back to that lead gen approach is, you know, everyone's had an experience now of putting their contact information, downloading a PDF that was pretty much useless, and then getting 10 follow-up emails over the next 3 days from an SDR. And so people have been burned before, which is why they're more reticent to kind of go for those things. But I think people do a lot more of their research and kind of their buying before speaking to companies. I remember even sort of 5, 10 years ago, let's say you're at a B2B company, you want to get a new software product to perform a function for you. You'd often just go and get demos with like 3 or 4 different products and then make a decision on which one is best for you. Nowadays, I feel like there's so much more information publicly. You've got all the review websites like your G2 and companies like that. Um, all businesses are putting out content now, really, or should be. And so you can review their content, you can review case studies, testimonials, and see what they're about. And I tend to find that people do a lot more of their buying and their research before speaking to companies. And so the key for us as businesses is like, how do we put that information out there and how do we position ourselves in the best way so that people can just get access to that information? Really good example is a lot more companies have pricing on their website nowadays than they did previously. And it's because they want to qualify. Like, if you can't afford us, then you probably shouldn't, you shouldn't even reach out and contact us. So I would say there's been huge changes in buying behavior from that perspective. Do you feel like, I guess you're quite young here, you weren't here 5, 10 years ago, but even in the last few years, have you noticed a shift in terms of how you buy things and how people are buying things nowadays?
100%, 100%. I read something. I remember reading a quote that says, "People who sell like being sold to," and I think I sell, and
Mm,
part of me does like kind of being sold to. So I'm probably more susceptible to um, two different types of selling approaches.
mm,
Point being that over the last 5, 10 years, I've bought a bunch of different courses and things online, let's say, for like my own growth as well. And if I analyze how I've gone about that and my buying behavior, my buying decisions over the last 5, 10 years, and if you're watching this, you might feel the same. I 100% have changed because 5, 10 years ago, I never would really like Google, hey, is this course like worth it? I probably would just watch a bunch of their videos, look through this PDF, think, oh yeah, this seems pretty legit, and just say, okay, I'll go for it. There might have also been a naivety, but I think as a whole, like the internet's more mature now, or people who use it, like society's more mature from that buying perspective. And now I even use things like Reddit, for example, to actually look up, hey, is this worth investing in? Should I spend my time even looking at this? And like you said, there are so many review websites out there that are actually really helpful. Even just Trustpilot, for example, that's stuff that people genuinely look at.
mm,
Um, and that's why I also like the demand gen approach, because what you're effectively doing is, even if you don't have a bunch of reviews behind you yet, it lets you build trust at scale, because we tend to trust people that we spend more time with and we see more. And so if you're getting your face out there more, you're getting your content out there more, people will then tend to trust you more. And I remember sitting on a call with you, Dave, where a prospective client came on the call and said, "Hey, I feel like I already know you," and that was our first conversation with this person. Like we never had heard of them before, and so the power of that is incredible because I I've like I don't see what other approach can really get that same reaction from a prospective client. And if you have your own business, I'd really consider that you look at or ask yourself, how can I implement a demand gen approach to how I'm growing? Because it simply works so well.